Alright, we are on the play with Rug Delver. We have 4 lands. Cantrip, couple threats. I think that's a keep. It's close. I'm really hoping that this turn 1 Visions can draw us into something nice. Probably some interaction. We're looking at a turn 2 Bolt-Proof Goyf, which realistically is becoming less and less relevant with Fatal Push in the meta. But that's okay. It's still nice to not have your Goyfs die to Bolt. It's always a good thing. Our opponent has Mull to 5. They kept Scrying 1. Their username is Doran the Tower, so it's possible we're up against a Doran deck. Hopefully they're good with it, though, if it is. And it's us. We're going to get a Steam Vents with one of the Misties. It doesn't matter which. Let's go with this one. If our opponent would give us priority, that is. Not sure why they haven't yet. Unless they have some sort of 0 mana piece of interaction or hate card that they want to play. Maybe they're AFK. I'm probably going to pause this until they get... Okay, we can play Magic. I'm going to get a Steam Vents. My ideal 4 lands, if I have the option with 4 lands, is Steam Vents Island Forest Stomping Ground. It gives you 2 sources of each color. There is a piece of interaction, which is beautiful. Let's put the Serum Visions on top, although Scour is pretty good for Mandrills. Do I want both? I could put both on top and fetch away the Scour if I don't want it. Visions on top. Go to us. So now we have some stuff against aggro, which is nice. My ideal is Steam Vent Stomping Ground Island Forest. It gives you 2 sources of each color, as efficient as you can get on 4 lands, unless you're getting a bunch of shocks. But this way we get a couple basics, ease the life total a little bit. As you can see here, we didn't have much choice in that matter, but that's okay. And it's also pretty good against or with Blood Moon. Gemstone Mine, Amulet of Vigor, that's exciting. Hopefully they play an Azusa soon, making that Bolt worth it. I'm going to slam Tarmogoyf, and I actually think I'm going to use this Forest because I'd like the Thought Scour next turn, I think, so that I can slam Mandrills as well. Yeah, that seems pretty good. I want to draw into a counterspell, but I also want a really good clock here. So hopefully we get there. A bounce land with that Amulet could be an Azusa as early as turn 2. However, we can't do too much against that, I don't think. Because if they're smart, they're just going to play their lands before we get priority to bolt the Azusa. And even if they don't, we're giving up a turn for the chance of bolting them to slow them down a turn, or bolting their enabler to slow them down a turn. So if they don't do it, then we just gave up a turn, which seems really bad. Our opponent seems to be a bit slow, which is unfortunate. On the other hand, that means more time for me to talk, and we all know I don't shut up, so that's at least somewhat of a good thing. Getting a clock down against this deck, I think, is also really important, because when they go off, they tend to very much go off. Forest, so they're not going at it yet, which makes me quite ecstatic. Now, it's pretty unlikely that either of these cantrips will just draw us into a counterspell on their own, because they basically just look at one card immediately, and will only have access to a maximum of 2 blue mana on this turn. So we can't cantrip, and then counter. So I think I start off by playing an island and scouring myself to enable the mandrills, or at least grow the goyf. We're probably going to attack immediately after this. Okay, so we drew a Traverse. Delirium's not online. I can tell by that goyf. We do have 3 card types. Unfortunately, they're the 3 relatively easy ones. Milling that Traverse was good for the goyf, though. So we can get in. And I'm going to follow that up with... I kind of want to Serum Visions here. But that means that we can't interact with an Azusa. However, we can't meaningfully interact with an Azusa regardlessly. So I don't know how relevant that is. I think I'm just going to go for it now. Denial, that's fantastic. Dismember is actually also pretty good. I believe I want the Denial first. And let's play Mandrills. I'm going to be fetching next turn, so I'm definitely getting rid of the land, and I think I want to leave one of the sorceries because we're going to bolt soon enough. We don't need end step. Go straight to them. I don't want any priority. I'm probably going to end up traversing for a Snapcaster Mage at some point. Ideally, I won't fetch until I draw that Dismember, but if I have to grow the goyf, we're going to end up growing the goyf. Gruul Turf is the Karu land, okay. When I saw the art there, I thought it was the one of the Innistrad Shadows over Innistrad dual lands, the red-green one. I don't remember the name. It's werewolfy. So for a second, I thought our opponent's deck was extremely wonky, but it does say Gruul Turf, and that is the land. So they have a bunch of mana. Here's an Azusa. They might be doing a lot of nasty things. Azusa gives you 2 extra land drops, so they won't be able to make enough mana to prime time. I don't think. Can they prime time? Am I just off? Maybe they run Simian Spirit Guide? I could see that. It also might just not really matter because they can probably do the same mana generating play next turn. They have 1 land drop left. There it is. So they can get 4 mana max. Summoner's Pact, sure. Maybe it's a Baloth. It's a Prime Time. They can't cast that yet. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if our opponent misplayed or maybe they just couldn't make enough mana. Now, They can't prime time next turn because they have to pay for the pact. So they actually can't do anything next turn, which is pretty fantastic. I think I just play the island. Actually, it really doesn't matter. So I guess we just give ourselves the option to get rid of the Dismember. I am going to probably bolt the Azusa prior to letting them block, just in case they want. Actually, they don't want to. And if they do block, we save a bolt, so that's fine. Because they didn't block, I'll use the bolt and cash in on some extra damage. Nice. Opponent's at 10. They can't prime time next turn. We're going to have a Dismember for when they do prime time. I think we might have this locked up. This game, at least. The match is still very much up in the air. Having Dismember on top of my deck makes me pretty confident. If I didn't, I'd probably be extremely worried about the prime time. Being able to make it a 1/1 as a combat trick is pretty nice. Yep, that's fine. We won't have Delirium on for a little while, but if they do end up destroying or eating one of our creatures with Primeval Titan, we will be able to traverse for Snap Bolt, and I believe we're going to be putting them in lethal range of Bolt. So I want to untap, draw the Dismember. Fantastic. They don't have any lands in the graveyard. We're going to have to do it for them. So let's get in there. We'll put them down to 2. May as well make Tarfire lethal. Fetch. I'm going to get a Stomping Ground tapped for the extra red and green source. That's a Stomping Ground Xmage. Thank you very much. They go down to 2. And with Dismember, I don't think they're going to be able to take us down. Hopefully. They certainly had a bit of a slow draw. At least I think they had a slow draw. I'm not exceedingly familiar with the intricacies of Amulet Titan, formerly known as Amulet Bloom, prior to the Summer Bloom ban, when the deck was extremely powerful. Turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 Summer Bloom. I'm pretty sure they could play a Primetime off of that. And usually, yeah, you usually packed for the Primeval Titan, then cast it with the mana generated off of Summer's Bloom, plus Amulet of Vigor. I think they can do all of that because... Can you? I'm not positive. Maybe not. I think you can, though. Maybe it needs a Simian Spirit Guide to do all of that. They make a bunch of mana. Here's a Primeval Titan. At least once that Gruul Turf heads back to their hand. They're going to tap out for the Titan. Hopefully they don't get any very scary lands. They could theoretically get a... Oh, what is it? Teleria West plus a Simic Growth Chamber to be able to search up a Pact. But I actually don't think Pact of Negation saves them here, since they won't have the blue mana to pay for it if they do use it to counter the Dismember. Also, they can't block both of our creatures. So I don't think we actually need the Dismember. I believe they're just going to die. I don't know what they have. They could theoretically pact for us. Not pact for it. Oh, Bajuka Bog's pretty good. Make it so that they don't need to deal with our graveyard, but their graveyard's still there, and that makes Goyf big enough. Radiant Fountain, though, gains them some life, yes. So they probably end up blocking Mandrills, and then we're going to Dismember them to get the last bits of damage through. I can't deal with any of the triggers, so I can't keep their life total down or keep Goyf big. But unless they have some sort of removal spell, and I don't believe they play any black removal spells, plus I have Denial powered by this 4/4 Mandrills, even if Goyf got a little bit smaller, and a Disrupting Shoal, I believe this is going to be the game. Swing with both. I have plenty of life, so I don't mind taking a Dismember. There are the blockers, yup. Absolutely. 4 life, down the toilet, but that's okay, because it's essentially going to do 5 damage to them. Nice. Okay, and here we look at the deck. I made a few changes, which you can probably see, given that Savage Knuckleblade is right in front. So, I want to work on the deck a bit, because I think it's good, but I think it could be better, especially because some matchups are quite difficult. I'm looking at Affinity, Eldrazi mostly, and a little bit of Grixis Shadow just because it's so prominent. So I'm going to quickly go over the changes. Savage Knuckleblade. I know, it's not good in Modern, please don't be mad at me, but Fatal Push is a pretty big thing right now, and Fatal Push has, I think, some trouble taking out Knuckleblade. Tarfire. Terminate and Abrupt Decay are also pretty much at all-time lows right now, so I think Knuckleblade actually might be pretty good. It's also able to outsize the common Eldrazi, and the common Delphatties. So I think this might be a good card right now. I don't know. I'm going to try it. If it's bad, I'll cut it right out. Like I said, don't be mad at me. I'm just trying stuff. It might be really good. So I may as well give it a shot. Other stuff, I cut the second Spell Snare to the sideboard. There are matchups where Spell Snare is really bad, and I needed to make room for the mountain that I brought in from the sideboard. I think you want 18 lands right now. Just to hit your land drops better, and especially since I'm trying Knuckle Blade. Other stuff, I think for the most part that's it for the main board. In the sideboard, I changed it up a bit. We have one of the Huntmasters was cut for a rapid hybridization. I don't think the third Huntmaster is really that important, so I want to try a 1 mana blue removal spell. Could be really bad again. I'm just trying stuff. I'm throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. I'm thinking of doing I'm gonna change up a bunch of cards gradually and see how it goes. Staticaster I can tutor out with Traverse, and it's pretty good against Affinity and some other aggro decks. That's the Snare. The rest is the same. Let's sideboard. It's a combo deck. I think Knuckleblade's going to be really bad here. Probably one of the Snapcaster mages. They don't run many 2 CMC spells. Shoal hits Bloom. I could see wanting a couple less of these. Thought Scour is extremely important. I like the Mana Leak. Let's trim a Traverse. I need 6 cards. Blood Moons. Pillar could be good. Vapor Snag. Hybridization. I should bring in some of these, and I'm just going to cut a couple cards to make it. I think I made it. I don't know if I made it. At the end, I trimmed a Mandrills because you can usually get away with that, and I cut a Thought Scour because I was under a bit of pressure, once again, talking probably more than I should, but I wanted to go over the changes, so what are you going to do? I think that's a keep. If they don't have a blisteringly fast draw, this looks really good. Turn 1 Visions. Turn 2 either Delver or Leak, possibly Tarfire. Probably hold up Mana Leak and Tarfire on turn 2. Although I'm going to be pretty sad that I'm not playing a Clock. Them not having a turn 1 Amulet really makes me want to just play Delver on 1. Since they won't be able to accelerate and go off for at least a little while, so we have at least some time. I believe they mulled to 6. Colony Garden's pretty good, gives them a chump blocker. At least that means they don't have an Amulet in hand. Go to us. The third land means we have pretty good Blood Moon mana, so I'm just going to get an island. I see no problem with giving up a few points to make Blood Moon a lot better, and I could still just get a breeding pool with this Foothills, have the extra bit of blue mana, and play around our own Blood Moon just a little less, but I think getting the island to start off is a good idea. That way, if we do draw Blood Moon, and on turn 3 I don't want to go blue spell plus blue spell, we have that option. Oh, they drew the Amulet. Or maybe they just wanted to start off on Stirrings? I don't know. There's the garden. I believe that's an ETB. Yes, it is. They have an 0-1 plant. I'm going to attack into that. That's not something I wanted to draw or reveal. Our opponent could reasonably go off from this position. So I believe I'm just going to go... It's a little awkward just passing the turn with mana up, but it's pretty reasonable for them to basically kick my ass here. So I think I'm going to go Mountain Pass, and then next turn, if they haven't done anything, I can get another blue source off the Foothills and go Visions plus Interaction to accelerate our game plan a little more, because right now we're not accelerating our game plan at all, which does hurt. Cavern could be really bad for us. and makes me not want to hold up Mana Leak. Cavern named Giant. They have chosen Giant. Azusa is counterable. Primetime is not. I'm not really concerned with countering Primetime, though. Sorry, I'm not concerned with countering Azusa. I would love to counter Primetime. So, Delver transforms, which is great. I think this is the point where we get a little less concerned with our Blood Moons and a lot more concerned with accelerating our game plan. On the other hand, I'm probably not casting Mana Leak, but I could always go Visions and still hold up a red spell, which sounds pretty good. Our opponent does not yet have the ability to play a Primeval Titan. Even if they play a bounce land next turn with the untap, they'll only have 5 mana. So I think I'm going to get a Breeding Pool here so that I can play both Visions and really accelerate the game plan. Next turn, playing a Hooting Mandrills, potentially. We are waiting for Serum Visions to resolve. It resolved. No thank you. I'm okay. We can probably just tutor out the forest at our leisure. Should we draw the Blood Moon? So that's not really a concern right now. Oh hey Blood Moon, how you doing? I can't Blood Moon plus Mandrills next turn, so Denial isn't particularly enticing. And once I have a Blood Moon on board, I really just don't care that much about it. Unless they try to, what is it? Summoner's Pact for a Reclamation Sage, then I would want to counter the Pact, which actually makes me want a Denial in hand. But then the Denial isn't enabled by Ferocious, so if they make any land drops, that's irrelevant, so let's bottom it. Bottom both, hold up a red spell. Oh, let me attack, please. I almost clicked to end step, and I'm not sure if that would skip my attack step. Naturally, I would like to do 3 damage. I actually could Mandrills plus Blood Moon. I think bottoming that Denial might have been wrong. I didn't do the last bit of Delve math because Visions was still on the stack. I have 4 right now. I could put a 5th with the Misty. No, that doesn't let me have 4 mana worth of... I would only have 4 mana that way. Delve 5, pay green, and then Moon for 3. So I still wouldn't be able to hold up Denial. Bottoming the Denial seems fine. If they give me any chance to bolt this Azusa, yep, Teleria West trigger, or even better, Amulet trigger. They know about the Bolt, but I'd rather use the Tarfire because Bolt is better at the face. So I'm just going to basically waste their land drops here. They no longer have Azusa, so they no longer get an additional 2 land drops. They used their 1 for the turn. Go to us. And now they're basically tapped out. I'm going to get a Forest. Attack with the Aberration. Cast Blood Moon. And then Mandrills. Fantastic. I'm naturally leaving Tarfire in the graveyard because it's the only tribal. And they just scooped, I believe. Yep, they did. They scooped to Blood Moon plus a bunch of pressure, which really is quite good against them, so that makes sense. They probably just couldn't come back from it. Feel free to pause here if you want a longer look at my current 75. This is in no way better than the 75 I've been playing recently, or even any 75 I have ever played. I'm just testing it out. I want to see what's good right now, and I think the deck could use some hard-earned innovation. So, may as well change some stuff up, see what's good, see how things go. Seems like a good idea to me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.